I think you can sum up the problem that many students are having in higher education actually relatively simply, and I think it has to do with something called Goodhart's Law. I want to talk about exactly what Goodhart's Law is, but first some context, because otherwise this won't make any sense. So I wish I could remember where I saw this and cite the source. So if anybody knows, please let me know in the comments. But I read an article recently about AI that was analogizing AI in education to students' relationship to, or just any person's relationship to, working out at the gym. But let's say you go to the gym, right? And you want to lift weights. And the goal of lifting those weights obviously is to get stronger. And so lifting the weights and how many times you can lift the weights and the total number of weight, the amount of weight that you can lift, obviously is a good proxy or a good measurement that can represent an increase in strength. But the goal is the increase in strength. If you instead make the goal just to make the weights go up and down, then you could do that just as easily with a forklift. But of course, that would destroy all of the benefit of actually going to the gym in the first place. So we can analogize this to education, right? If you go into education with a goal of getting good grades, rather than letting those good grades be a measure of your growth, then that's a problem. Education is the workout for your brain. The goal is to make your brain, your intellect, your ability to think critically get stronger. And if we make those things get stronger, then we're accomplishing our educational goal. The grade then is a representation of that growth and improvement. And so in this article that I read, they were analogizing the forklift, right? Your relationship to the forklift as your relationship to AI, right? You can use AI to write a 2-page paper for you, but it defeats the entire purpose of the existence of the 2-page paper. The discomfort that you feel when writing the 2-page paper, the strain that you feel in having to really clarify your thoughts, is the weightlifting process. It's the growth process. It's the making your brain stronger process. The end goal is not the paper. The end goal is the growth that you experience in clarifying your thoughts in order to write said paper and in learning new things in order to write said paper. So this brings me to Goodhart's Law. Goodhart's Law states that if the measure becomes the target, then the measure ceases to be useful. So in other words, if the grade, which is a measure, becomes the target, and that's the only thing that students are concerned about, which I find in my teaching is often the case, then that target ceases to be useful. That measure is no longer useful. In order for it to be useful, it has to be a representation of your growth and a representation of your improvement over the course of a semester or your entire college career or whatever it may be, any educational circumstance you may find yourself in. And every teacher, college professor, educator of any kind knows this scenario where a student comes to you and goes, how can I improve my grade? How can I improve my grade? I almost never get the question, how can I get better at this skill? How can I improve my critical thinking? How can I understand this subject more thoroughly? I never get those questions. I just get, how can I improve my grade? And believe me, I get it. Grades have become super important because then they're a reflection of whether or not you're going to graduate, or if you're going to graduate with honors or cum laude or whatever it is. And then that then represents perhaps your, potential earnings in the workforce, et cetera, et cetera. I understand that there are consequences to grades. It's unfortunate, but I understand that that's the reality. But I promise you, if you're a student or anybody who's involved in any educational endeavor, if you focus on improving your critical thinking ability, if you improve your skills, if you learn new things, if you grow your brain and you focus your education on being the workout for your brain, the good grades will follow. They will happen. So I think we really need to encourage our students to shift focus in this way. That's going to be the key to them getting the absolute most out of their education and also improving the higher education experience for everyone across the board.